Tommy, about 2 years ago, I was lucky enough to be flown to Italy to drive the Alfa Romeo Tonale. Good Italian accent, not so good?
It'll do the trick.
Anyway, there was something magical about that car. It was a plug-in hybrid. I drove it on these very tight Italian roads up the Tonale Pass, and I kind of thought it was charming, but then something happened in translation when the Tonale became the Dodge Hornet GT.
Yeah, that's right. I think that the red, white, and blue has kind of rubbed off on the Tonale in all the wrong ways without making this car feel genuinely American. But we're going to talk about this car in a full review today, and not just any Hornet, Dad. This is the 2024 Dodge Hornet GT Plus Track Pack and Blacktop all-wheel drive. I kid you not, that is the official name of this car. It's like 3 sentences long, but let's talk about the Hornet. So this is Dodge's entrance into that small crossover world that is ever so popular. Vehicles from Toyota and Honda and Volkswagen and Hyundai and Kia. I mean, this is the most popular segment in the world right now.
Don't forget Alfa Romeo.
And Alfa Romeo, that's right. And Dodge has done something a little interesting with this car, because what they have created is the muscle car of crossovers.
And take your guesses right now as to how much the muscle car of crossovers cost, because we will tell you that at the end of the video. Do you like the way they took an Italian car and turned it into an American car?
Well, they kind of did their best to breathe on it a little bit to make it more American, and it's got some cool scoops and louvers and fins and that kind of thing, but it still does overall look very Alfa Romeo. There was only so much they could do. I mean, I do like certain aspects. I think the hood vents here are pretty cool, and you can see there's a little bit of function going on with the hood vents. I really do like these wheels, the black painted wheels with the bright red Dodge brake calipers poking through, wrapped in a good tire, Michelin Pilot Sport All Season 4.
Tommy,
That's a tire.
I've got a big issue with the wheels. They just look too small for the body of the car.
Well, I mean, I think any car could look better, 2 inches lower, but I think it's okay. I mean, look, it's still a crossover. It still has to appeal to, you know, your typical family. And then my favorite part, we were just discussing this off camera, I do love that Hornet emblem.
I think if I told you that was a Hornet and you kind of looked at it, you wouldn't know. There's something about it turning black. I get it's a Hornet with the stinger flying forward, but it's kind of hard to tell that on this car.
Now, one nice feature about this blacktop version is everything is blacked out. The mirror caps, the door trim, there's no chrome, which makes this car look pretty slick in 2024. And then out back, we got that black Hornet, we got the GT logo. So one thing worth noting, the Hornet can be had in both gas and plug-in hybrid versions. The GT indicates that this is just the gas version. So let's talk about the power. So under the hood, we're gonna find a 2-liter. Not your most striking angle there, Dad.
I apologize for the butt crack shot. Sorry guys, I did not mean to do that. It was just unfortunate timing.
So hurricane power in this beast. We're looking at 268 horsepower out of a transverse mounted 4-cylinder. Look at that turb ski mounted front and center. Turbo.
All I see is a giant airbox, Tommy. You know, you want to see like the beautiful construction of the engine air intakes. I just see this big old airbox.
It does have turbo molded on it though. No, but look.
And then there's a battery that's, you know, very prominently placed next to the engine, and it's not a hybrid, it's just a regular 12-volt.
Listen, I'd rather have a battery here than hidden somewhere in the trunk when I have to go and jump it. So look, I'm actually pretty impressed with the power on this car. I mean, it has a lot of power for this class. Yeah, that is the Hornet's big selling point. Nearly, I mean, we're knocking on the door of 270 horsepower in a really fairly compact crossover with all-wheel drive. We're going to find out, made it to that 9-speed automatic.
I like how they put these two little like SRT stripes to signify that this is a Dodge.
Yeah, the new Dodge logo. What do you think of that? Classy, elegant?
Yeah. I'll just leave it at that.
So look, I don't have any issues with the exterior styling on the car.
I like the color.
Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. I like how it's all blacked out. I like all the air intakes here, especially this one right underneath that Dodge streaks that kind of looks like nostrils. It's pretty cool looking crossover for what it is.
I don't know, dude. I mean, this is the same company that builds the Hellcat Charger and Challengers, right? These wide body muscle cars, and now you're looking at the small wheeled funky crossover with, you know, some air intakes. It's just not Dodge.
Can I talk to you off camera for a sec?
Sure.
You're gonna have to say something nice about it.
I like the color.
One thing. You gotta have more than just the color. My grandma could say that. Come up with some journalism here. What do you like about the construction or the?
I like the fact that if I were to go rent a car, this would be one of the options.
All right, well, let's check out the inside, because this version with the track pack does have some rather sporty features. Look at the seat. So we have like this suede insert with this red backing and the aggressive bolstering with the red stitching, and of course a full power seat. This is a ridiculously bolstered and aggressive front seat for a small crossover. And then the inside, you look, there are some sporty bits. Flat bottom steering wheel, sport mode from the Alfa Romeo on the steering wheel, red stitching. There's a lot of kind of cool go fast bits in this car.
All right, let's see if I fit in the back, Tommy. How about that?
Yeah, that is one of the big problems. It's very small in the back seat.
Yeah, I mean, what you got here is a giant sunroof, and then unfortunately you've got a little scalloped area above the rear seat head area, but it's still pretty tight. So I've got the seat all the way back because that's where I was passengering, but you know, it's not horrible.
It's pretty snuggy, yeah, compared to like the Toyota.
I'm saying something good about it, and now you're saying what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's got both USB and USB-C.
There you go. That's good.
There you go. Yeah.
And air vents, actually, that is nice. They did give you rear seat air vents.
The air vents are nice, the materials are good, and the seats are, you know, relatively laid back. They're not straight up, so that's good. But it is tight back here, Tommy. How about the way back? How much room is in the?
Well, when you fold the rear seats down, you get up to 55 cubic feet worth of space, and do that right now. It does fold flat, and then also kind of unusual for this class, there's actually a ski pass-through. So if you're looking to travel with 4 people and skis, that's kind of a nice feature.
Yeah, I figure that's something that if you're going up one of the Italian passes, you may need. And then here's more storage, because there's no space saver, but there is there's no run flap, but there is a tire
inflation kit. Yeah. So
and then there's this. Yeah, that's a lot.
Shelf.
That's what do you do with this?
It's weight savings. It's composite. It's like a Corvette.
Oh, it's weight savings. Sorry.
So the reason I'm studying Splenderoni is because, as you keep mentioning, it is manufactured in Italy. I'm trying to figure out how to pronounce the name of the city. Pomigliano is where it's manufactured. The engine's from Italy. The final assembly point's in Italy, but the transmission, that's American all the way.
All right, there you go. America.
American transmission.
I can hit the button here.
Does have power lift gate. All right, let's take it for a spin, Dad.
I thought all the Stellantis products had the little button on the side. Apparently not.
Depends which.
Like the Jeep has it on the side. All of them for a while had it on the side. But now they've gone to more of the traditional location. So look, this interior is very European. It doesn't say muscle car. It says, you know, European sports car, right? The little tiny controls, the little tiny screen, you know, all these kind of like funky controls here on the steering wheel, including the sport button. That is, of course, very Alfa Romeo.
I mean, look, you could look at it in a couple ways. You could look at it as very European, or you could look at it as an Alfa Romeo for Dodge money. There you go.
Yeah.
Gotcha there.
Yeah, and then you've got, instead
of the knurled scroll wheel for the volume. Just look at that. Look at the quality there.
You know what I did, Tommy, coming back from the airport?
What?
I tried to adjust the volume with this.
So these are...
And I bet you I'm not the only one that's going to do that.
No, as you mentioned, you are correct. These cars are very popular in rental fleets, and I bet a lot of folks do that. This screen, though, is actually really good. 10.3-inch system. Uconnect 5. So this is genuinely a nice thing I have to say about this car. It's a really good system. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, quick, snappy, great colors, easy to use.
Yeah, but it's tiny. I'm not saying it's bad that it's tiny, but compared to like today's screens, right? That is a tiny screen.
I mean, it's low and wide.
It's usable.
This is the Modelo of screens. You know, where the Bronco Sport's the Corona, tall and thin. This is nice, and this is the American of screens, low and wide.
All right.
See what I'm saying?
Look, I think we're.
You know what I like about this?
What?
It's not distracting. It's not some tablet that's just slapped in the center.
Well, it is a tablet that's strapped. It's just a small tablet.
Okay, I will say, this is pretty cool. Sport mode does change throttle mapping and steering and that kind of thing, but it also, with this black top track pack,
there you go,
tells you sport mode. It actually has a 2-stage suspension as well. So there's hard and there's rock hard. So I've gone into rock hard mode for a sec, but for a reason. Let me show you the acceleration on this bad boy.
Okay, I got my head back so it doesn't snap my neck off when you floor it. Okay, go for it.
In drive,
Yeah.
let me change my gauge cluster here so I can see the RPM. You actually have a bunch of different configurations. Here, we'll go to the performance page. Look at that. All right, we'll see the G's.
All right, let's see the G's.
Here we go. Brake torque. That's pretty good. It really has a lot of torque, especially lower down in the RPM range. It does really, really well at kind of building torque. And at really any speed, this car is quicker than anything I've driven in this class. Like if you drive a CRV or a RAV4.
Yeah, but here's the problem. This is not just a problem with this car, right? The problem is cars like the Ioniq 5 have reset kind of my butt meter, and that to me just feels leisurely compared to what an electric car will do. And that's not the fault of this car. I'm just saying that electric cars have so much instant torque that even turbos with very little lag, which this has, very little lag, feel slow in comparison.
But you get that turbo experience and the noise and the...
There isn't much noise.
There's not a lot of noise, but if there were...
If there were noise, then you get it.
The ride is pretty poor. I would describe it as extremely firm for no reason.
Well, if you track this, it'll be perfect.
The track pack, that's right, your door sills are going to be helpful in the track. No, but seriously, I mean, I do mean that this is the muscle car of the group. If all you care about in your small crossover is going fast, this car will do that brilliantly.
Look, I love Dodge. You know, we've owned the Hellcat. I love the Charger Challenger. And there are cars right now that, if it were my money, I would buy instead of this. For instance, the Charger four-wheel drive with the Pentastar.
It's discontinued.
But our local dealership still has about 10 of them. I would love to get one of those because you get all of the muscle car looks
with none of the performance.
Okay, I've been very negative.
Yes,
I don't want
to have to say some nice things about it. The blue steel paint is awesome.
I was just going to say,
and the performance is awesome, and I do love the Uconnect system. Genuinely love the Uconnect system.
I'll be positive. I'll give you 5 things I like about it.
We're accelerating again. Hold on. Woo!
All right, I'll give you 5 things I like about it.
Okay.
Okay, number 5, the paint.
Yes, we established that the paint is good.
I like the seats. The seats
are good, and they support you.
Number 4.
Really well. Yeah, they are very supportive.
Number 3, I love the traditional shifter. I'm glad that they didn't reinvent the shifter.
Yeah, that's nice.
Number 2, I like the steering wheel. It's nice and fat and kind of really can take the car by the scruff of its neck and whip it around.
Yeah.
And number 1, I do like Uconnect. I think it's one of the best out there. It's easy to use. It's very intuitive. And, you know, that's kind of the end of my list, unfortunately.
This is an unusual case in 2024 where the software is excellent. It's the hardware stuff that's the problem. Usually it's the opposite. I actually do like the gauge cluster too, the 12.3 inch.
Look, do you remember back, well, you don't remember back then, but when I was a kid, right, badge engineering, where you took one vehicle, made by one brand, and then you kind of, you know, changed around the badges and did some small kind of cutting around the corners and made it into another vehicle from another brand. That kind of failed. So it was very popular in the 70s and 80s, and then it kind of went away. And, you know, with the Fiata, with the Toyota 86 and the BRZ, right, it all came back. But dude, it wasn't a good idea back then, and it isn't a good idea now.
But you say that.
Like I said, for me, this what made a fine Alfa Romeo. It doesn't make a great Dodge. And I know Dodge is really struggling because they have nothing to sell right now until, you know, the EV Charger and Challenger come along. But still, I wish they could have something that is, you know, Dodge is one of the most American brands of all. Wouldn't you say?
To the Dodge's credit,
yes,
this is not as bad as the brand engineering in the 80s. This is not simply change the color and change the badge. Like, there is more to distinguish the Hornet. So I don't want to go that far with it. I just, in this, as competitive as this class is, being the fastest in class for a class that people don't care about speed, is just not enough to make this vehicle better than the Toyota or the Mazda.
I'm just saying, if I were going to badge engineer this, I would have made it a Fiat. It just feels like they're both Italian, and then they both kind of have some shared DNA. It just feels like you're putting a round peg in a square hole when you're taking what is in essence a very Italian car and making it into what is one of the most American cars by putting, you know, 2 stripes on it and a backwards B.
Well, let us know what you guys think in the comment section if we're on point a Farafa rocker and head over to alltfl.com and our Patreon page for more behind the scenes.
You
and
didn't
early
tell them the
access.
most important thing, Tommy.
Well, the price is too expensive. I forgot to tell you the price because it's a little depressing. 44 and some change. So we're actually knocking on the door $45,000 on this one. You can get them deep into the 30s, which is the way to do it. But yeah, don't spend 45 on a Hornet.
Yep, and we'll see you next time. Ciao.